Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Thursday, the 9th of April. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought we'd talk about today some of the unique stuff that comes through the shop and I guess my approach on things when it comes to repairing these unique stuff. So, stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Thursday, the 9th of April of 2026. So, what am I talking about when I say unique products, unique things? Well, let's start off with the last one that came in yesterday. And I don't know if any of you guys ever remember the Honda Pug, PUG, yes. And it was the equivalent to a side by side back then. And it ran on just basic, the GX series Honda engine, I think. Wasn't a big engine, but it articulates. So, I mean, that thing would go anywhere, right? And I haven't seen one in a gazillion years. I'm serious. And we had one of our customers, a new customer, get a hold of us and say, is that something that you guys would be willing to work on, look at, see what you could help us out with? And the answer is always yes. Let's see what you got. Because Claude's like, no, we're not doing side by side engines, this, that. I'm like, Claude, it's just like the Honda engines we sold brand new right out the door. So he said, well, have him bring it. We'll see what happens. So I got a hold of the customer and made arrangements. I told him we could pick it up if he wanted. He said, no, him and his grandson weren't that far away and they could drive it over yesterday morning. Of course, yesterday morning it was 9 degrees out. Today is supposed to be 65. So, and they came with the pug. And I mean, they had like 3 or 4 layers of jackets on, Skidoo helmets. But all said and done, some people are going to say, why would you even waste time and money on something like that? It depends on how much time and money you have. You know, I don't, you don't need a 20 plus thousand side by side to have some fun with the grandkids. If this pug checks all the boxes, why not? It was affordable. It's something that, most people can work on. But he was having problems with the shift, with the idle, with he needed a service done on it. If we got everything working right, the switch didn't work. He was shorting it across on the solenoid. We got all those things done yesterday. All it lacks today is a basic service and it's ready to go. You should never judge a book by its cover. And where am I going with this morning? I'm going with, it's nice to have top of the line brand new stuff. But if your budget can't afford those things, there are a lot of other options out there. And are these going to be big dollar amount stuff that we're going to make money on in the shop? No. No. But the smile on that kid's face is worth something. And of course, the grandfather said that the guy that he bought it off from had limited it so that the throttle could only be pushed down so far. And at full throttle, it was hardly moving, but the prior owner had granddaughters that rode it around and didn't want any of them to get hurt by going too fast. So, of course, the young lad is like, I wanted to go fast. Of course you do. We all did at your age. So we're knocking that out today. I guess the moral of the story is, it doesn't matter how much you pay for your toys. if you don't get any enjoyment out of it, how much are they worth? You know, we've got another customer that went out and spent over 30 grand on a Polaris Ranger solid cab, heated AC, plow package on it, but he doesn't use it and he doesn't want to get it dirty. So trail riding with it in the summertime isn't happening. And if he does get it out to push a little bit of snow or move something around the yard, he spends more time trying to polish it back up than actual time using it. So my question I pose again is, who's getting the better deal? Who's getting more enjoyment? That guy with a $30,000 rig that's pristine and never gets used, or the guy with the Honda Pug that probably's got maybe $1,000, 1,200 into it, and that thing is being run ragged every day with the grandkids? I'll go with the Pug. You know, I've got a lot of toys. I'm not going to be a hypocrite either. You know, I own probably 6, maybe 7 side by sides, and all Polaris, other than one Yamaha. That was years ago, and I didn't care for the bucket seats. All right, so let's go to customer number 2. Customer number 2 wanted to know if we could pick up her rototiller, do a service on it, and bring it back so that they could use it. And also there was a belt, the forward drive belt on the tiller. Now, to kind of give you a visual, this is, I remember using one of these when I was a kid. This is front tine, no drive wheels, you push or let the tines pull you. You've got the plow point that you stick into the ground to hold back on so that you can set your depth. But I wouldn't have thought that it was worth the money to put into to have it serviced, honestly. Well, we agreed to it. So we went out to pick it up. And I want to say it's a Montgomery Wards. And it's got this little tiny Briggs on it. They had wrapped it in plastic to store it for the winter months. So they unwrapped the plastic off from it, and Claude and I loaded it in the back of the truck and brought it back on Tuesday. So yesterday morning I told Claude, I said, I'm going to see if I can't tackle this, get the oil changed on it, check the gear oil in the front hub, and put a new plug in it, treat the fuel that's in it, add some more fuel that's treated, give it the once over, get the belt changed. But the thing that surprised me is I was going to grab carb cleaner to see if I could get that thing started. Because, it was a brute. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to give it a try. And I know I had my run all winter. So I pulled the choke out on it, give it a little bit of throttle. Second pull, it was running. Running like a brand new machine. And I'm like, really? How many people can say that they've got their rototiller, their lawnmower, what have you, has lasted the test of time? How many units are being sold today that will be here in 50 years? Maybe in a landfill somewhere. But so these are the unique projects that I take on that, I enjoy doing because are they big money makers? No. I wouldn't put the money into that thing on a good day because I know it will beat the crap out of you. And here's the best. The owner is 84 years old. And her niece that are doing the garden together just retired at 64 or 65. they're going to hang on to this front tine tiller, and they've got one garden area from last year, but they want to take some virgin ground and put in corn this year, sweet corn. And they're going to do it with that thing. So, as kind of hearted as I am, I told him, I said, look, I'll get your rototiller running like a champ. But here's what we're going to do. How big a garden do you need for the corn? So the gal went out and showed us how big a section that she wanted to till up. And I said, once it dries up a little bit, it's still way early to be thinking gardening. Ordering your seeds and all that stuff, yes, but to go out and try to work a garden up. You know, we still have snow on the ground and 8 degrees yesterday morning. So we've got a little while to get these things done. So what I told him is I will bring the truck, trailer, tractor with my 5-foot rototiller on it, and we will bust it up the first time, the virgin ground, so that they aren't trying to do it with that front tine tiller. I wouldn't want to do it with a rear tine tiller, let alone a front tine tiller. A front tine tiller is like shaking to the oldies, because for 2 days after you get done, your arms are still shaking from trying to hold on to that bugger. But there's 2 instances of really old stuff that a lot of shops will not even look at. But they're still running. And they're still running good with proper maintenance. You decide what you're going to work on in your shop. We're kind of versatile. And when I say versatile, I mean if it's got an engine on it, we can work on it. But it depends upon what it is. You know, I told you guys about the Massimos and staying clear of them because they are a nightmare. I had a guy call from a shop yesterday, and he's like, "Is this Eric?" And I said, "Yes, it is." He said, "I got a favor to ask." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Can you send me your Massimo computer that you plug into the Massimos to tell you what's wrong with them?" I said, "I guess I could if I had one," but I said, I bought one. It was $700. It didn't do squat. So I sent it back for a refund. And I dropped doing warranty work. And I said, I don't know of anybody within a 500-mile radius of me that is willing to work on these, especially the engines. And the phone went silent. I said, so if you let me know where you're at, I will point a lot of customers your way, because we will not get internal on these Massimos. It's just the only way you can really do anything with the Massimo, and it's got so even with the Polarises and all that stuff, is yank the friggin' engine right out and do the work on a bench and then put it all back in. Problem is it's time consuming. Problem is customers a lot of times don't want to pay for that time consuming venture of 6 to 8 hours just to pull it and put it back. You see what I'm saying? In our shop, we specialize for the oldies. And I do it, I work on stuff more than just for the money. It's the relationships that we have. And watching that youngster yesterday, just like my grandson when he comes up during the summer and he gets on the tractors and he gets on to, he loves it, is the sheer joy and excitement. And if I can make his day better by putting him into a safer, all-around machine that's reliable, hell yeah, I'll do it. But we still have to make money too as a shop. We just, if somebody can't afford to spend $30,000 on a new side-by-side, they're probably not going to pay a couple thousand to fix up what they got. You see what I'm saying? So I guess what I'm getting at is, like with me, if when I buy a side by side, a four wheeler, you name it, even the new tractor that I got this past year, they were bought as workhorses, not to stay pristine in my garage. You know, they are a utility piece of equipment. And even if I didn't have the farm and stuff like that, if I'm going to go out and spend 30 grand on a side by side, I'm going to run the piss out of that puppy, get my money's worth back. Keeping it sheltered out of the rain, snow, and everything else, to me, is why even have it? Put that $30,000 in a bank and let it draw just interest on the money instead of buying something that you're not going to use. Maybe I'm bass backwards, but even my new truck. A lot of people with the new truck, they try to baby it, keep the miles down. This and that. That's a work truck. It's my personal, but it's also a work truck, and that's why I bought the 3/4 ton with the gooseneck hitch ball in the center of it and the heavy duty trailer package behind it, because that's why I bought it. It's not to let it sit there and look at it. If I'm looking at it all the time and not using it, then for me, anyways, these last few years, I've been doing the use it or lose it. If you're not going to use it, why keep it around? Cash out and put it into something that you will get a lot of enjoyment out of or work out of, one or the other. Like with my side by sides, during hunting season, they're going strong. The boys and I, we hunt, and both machines are usually out every day, taking us to our stands or what have you. The boys normally take the side by side, the Polaris Ranger, and I'll take the Honda four wheeler and go where I'm going to hunt and stuff so that we're all spread out. Summertime, here pretty quick, I'm going to be using the four wheeler to do fixed fences where the cow pasture is. I'll use it to check on the fences, to check on hay fields. The side by side and the four wheel will get used a lot when we park a piece of equipment like in the back meadow. Instead of bringing it all the way up every day, we just run back and forth with the side by side or with the four wheeler. And that way, it's a quick trip. It's easier than dragging all that equipment all the way up the hill or unhooking a bunch of equipment just to bring that tractor back to the house every day. So, what's your thought on that? Do you guys buy stuff to just have stuff, or do you buy stuff to use it? My chainsaws, my tools, everything I've got is a utility piece of equipment. If I'm not going to use it, then I'm not going to keep it around. I don't need to have things on a showroom like trophies to say this is what I have. I want something that I'm going to use a lot. And if I'm going to use it a lot, I don't mind spending money on it. But the last thing I'm going to do is buy a side by side just to have it parked in the garage so I can go out and look at it from time to time. So on that note, you guys have a great Thursday. We'll be here bright and early tomorrow morning. We've got tomorrow, I just got a message from another customer. He's got a truckload or a trailer load of stuff. I know when we could pick that up. So I sent back a message saying Friday morning, tomorrow morning, we will grab it. We're staying busy. We're starting to pick up. We're seeing the uptick. So things are, I'm not going to complain because this is what I've been waiting for months of where it's been really quiet and get us caught up. So on that note, you guys have a great Thursday. We'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Let me know what you think on the oldies stuff. All right, have a great day.